So, now that we've covered that, which is one of the craziest experiences I've ever had in my life, but now I am 100% convinced that there is a spiritual realm out there and that people are using it to do different things. People are going out of their bodies and they're doing things to try and harm people in one way or another because that's what that lady was doing. I could totally see that. I knew that. I knew she was not coming to my door for good purposes. Whatever she was there to do, it was for bad reasons. I just knew it. So and not just that, but below us there was a Native American family or friends or something that were down there. And I have nothing against, like I said, I'm not racist. I don't have anything against Native Americans or anything like that, or any people for that matter. But I do know from doing some research and studying myself that some Native American religions or some Native American cultures are into conjuring spirits. Like, I mean, that's just a fact. If you look it up, that's a fact. Some of them are into doing that. Now, from what I understand, they call it like communing with spirits or things like that, And they don't necessarily distinguish between a demon and a spirit. They don't necessarily do that. Usually, a spirit to them is just a spirit. So there would be these people downstairs, and they would be beating on their drums. Man, I'm not even joking. Like, it probably would happen every other day. Every other day, I would hear some beating going on down there on the drums, and I knew that what they were doing was like a ritual. Because I know there's different reasons people use drums, and there's different there's many different reasons that Native Americans use drums. They'll tell you that themselves. But one of the reasons, just like certain African tribes and stuff like that, is to try and conjure spirits. That is one of the reasons that they use drums. They use it for other purposes too. They use it for celebrations. They use it for, but one thing they do also use it for is to conjure spirits. So I personally believe that's what the people below us were doing. Because you could hear it, you could feel the evil like rising up through the floor. You could hear them like doing their chanting and their. So I believe that's what they were doing. Can I prove that? No, but do I believe that? Yes, and I still believe that to this day. And they would do it constantly, and it was just every time they did it, man, it was just like you could feel the evil rising through the floor. I can't really explain it other than that. But so, I believe that also had an effect on like behavior, my mother's behavior. Like I said, while we were in that place, and this hasn't happened since then, but while we were in there, man, every single person that lived in that place was being oppressed and acting out in evil ways. We were all acting out and doing something that we wouldn't normally do. And it was because of the presence of all that darkness that was in there. All that darkness was affecting all of us every single day. And I don't remember. I was telling my mom, I don't remember a single person that didn't get affected by that darkness, that didn't start arguing with each other, that didn't. I mean, you had an old man with a cane. He was boxing it out with people. I mean, I saw everything you can imagine over there. I mean, this guy was a really nice, gentle guy, but he was out there like, I mean, just going crazy. Like, people were attacking him, so he had to fight back. I mean, he was talking about, I just want to get out of this place. That's all I want to do. I just want to get out of here. I was saying the same thing. Other people were saying the same thing. It was just absolutely horrible. So what ended up happening, I had some issues in that place. I'm just going to put it that way. Some experiences of evil, coming from towards me, and then I guess me being affected by it, and then me acting out in evil ways, or however that is. But when you're in an environment like that, when you're under that constant stress and that constant horrible nightmare for 3 years, yeah, you're going to start to lose your mind a little bit. You're going to start to kind of act out. Act out. So I was drinking a lot. I remember I was drinking alcohol and stuff to try to like, just, I was anything to get a little bit of an escape. So I started drinking. And of course I had just separated from my wife too. So that had a huge impact on me in the beginning because I was real sad, real depressed and whatnot. But anyway, doing things I shouldn't have done like that, and it was just making the situation worse. It was just making the situation worse. So anyway, one thing leads to another, and I end up having to leave that place for specific reasons. I had to leave. I had to get out of there. So and I couldn't come back. So anyway, we're gonna get into that in some other videos here coming up next. What happened to me after that? Where I ended up going? That's when I became homeless for the first time in my life, like legitimately homeless, not like staying somewhere for a couple days or whatever, but actually being homeless and not knowing what in the world was coming next. I mean, I literally left that place with like a bag of bread. I think I had a couple loaves of bread. That's and some peanut butter. I think maybe not even that. Trying to remember for sure. I know for sure I had 2 loaves of bread. That was about it. So I had to leave that place. I said I'm not going back there. Whatever happens to me happens to me. But I believe God's gonna take care of me. So I just left. I started walking. God in my soul, I knew that God was telling me to go north because I kept feeling that I'm supposed to go north. So I ended up walking for an entire day and an entire night to a whole other city, and then when I got to that city, I remember walking for another day and night. So literally like almost 24 hours it took me to walk from one place to another. And then to another place to another. So altogether, it was literally like walking for days. Like that's what it felt like. So, but the whole and the whole time, I remember believing that God was going to be with me. But I was definitely a little bit nervous and probably a little bit scared too. Felt that way, for sure, because I had never been in a situation like that before, where all I have is 2 loaves of bread and I think like a water bottle, and that was it. And I'd never been homeless before, so I didn't know where I was gonna go, where I was gonna sleep, what I was gonna do, how I was gonna eat, who I was gonna run into, what I didn't know, So I was just, and I had literally one pair of clothes on, and like a bag. In my bag, I think I maybe had like one or 2 shirts and maybe 1 pair of pants, because I was able to gather that up before I left. So I think it was like 1 or 2 shirts and 1 pair of pants, and that was it. And so like here I am. Hold on, we're gonna talk about this in the next video.